the search for alien worlds is expanding to 20,000 star systems that were previously considered poor targets for intelligent life. New data has led the SETI Institute to believe systems orbiting red dwarfs, dim, long-lived stars that are on average billions of years older than our Sun, are worth investigating. This may be one instance in which older is better, said astronomer Seth Shostak of California-based SETI, a private, non-profit organization. Older solar systems have had more time to produce intelligent species. The 2-year project involves picking from a list of about 70,000 red dwarfs and scanning 20,000 of the nearest ones, along with the cosmic bodies that circle them. To do this, scientists will use the SETI Institute's Allen Telescope Array in Northern California, a group of 42 antennas that can observe 3 stars simultaneously. We'll scrutinize targeted systems over several frequency bands between 1 and 10 GHz, said SETI scientist Jerry Harp. Roughly half of those bands will be at so-called magic frequencies, places on the radio dial that are directly related to basic mathematical constants, he added. It's reasonable to speculate that extraterrestrials trying to attract attention might generate signals at such special frequencies. For a long time, scientists ruled out searching around red dwarfs because habitable zones around the stars are small. Any planets orbiting them would be so close that one side would be constantly facing the star, making one side of the planet very hot and the other quite cold and dark. But more recently, scientists have learned that heat could be transported from the light side of the planet to the darker side, and that much of the surface could be amenable to life. In addition, exoplanet data have suggested that somewhere between 1/6 and 1/2 of red dwarf stars have planets in their habitable zones, a percentage comparable to, and possibly greater than, for Sun-like stars, said the statement. Experts have been hunting for alien intelligence for 6 decades, but have not found any evidence yet. During a talk in Washington last year, the space agency announced that humanity is likely to encounter extraterrestrials within a decade. I believe we are going to have strong indications of life beyond Earth in the next decade and definitive evidence in the next 10 to 20 years, Alan Stoffen, chief scientist for NASA, said. We know where to look, we know how to look, and in most cases we have the technology. Jeffrey Newmark, interim director of heliophysics at the agency, added, it's definitely not an if, it's a when. We are not talking about little green men, Stoffen said. We are talking about little microbes. The announcement was prompted by the recent discovery of water by NASA in surprising places. Jim Green, director of planetary science at NASA, noted that a recent study of the Martian atmosphere found 50% of the planet's northern hemisphere once had oceans a mile deep. At the same conference a year before, NASA Administrator Charles Bolden made a more conservative estimate. He claimed that we will find life within the next 20 years, with a high chance it will be outside our solar system. NASA's next Mars rover, scheduled to launch in 2020, will search for signs of past life and bring samples for a possible return to Earth for analysis. NASA also hopes to land astronauts on Mars in the 2030s, which Stoffen says is crucial key to the search for Mars life. I'm a field geologist. I go out and break open rocks and look for fossils, Stoffen said. Those are hard to find. So I have a bias that it's eventually going to take humans on the surface of Mars, field geologists, astrobiologists, chemists, actually out there looking for that good evidence of life that we can bring back to Earth for all the scientists to argue about. The space agency is also planning a mission to Europa, which may launch as early as 2022. It hopes to find out whether the icy moon is habitable. Meanwhile, the agency's James Webb Space Telescope will launch in 2018 to scope out the atmospheres of nearby super-Earth alien planets.